Some of the stories making headlines in West Africa, from escalating militant tensions in Mali to shifting political landscapes in Ivory Coast, Senegal, and Guinea-Bissau, the region is facing a number of critical moments at this time. And to help us unpack all of that and what it means, we're now joined by Dr. David Matsanga, who's a political scientist and conflict resolution expert. Dr. Matsanga, always good to have you on the program. Welcome.
Thank you very much, my brother Peter Ndoro. We are veterans and we continue to serve our continent diligently and speak the truth until Africa rises and shines again.
Amen to that. So let's begin in Mali. Mali has launched airstrikes in its western Kayes region after militants imposed a fuel blockade targeting vital supply routes into Bamako. What does this move by the military indicate about the current trajectory regarding the stability or fragility in Mali's interim government?
First of all, since the current government came to power, there has been quite a lot of a significant move towards elimination of terrorism in the Sahel region. And I'm very pleased with the record. Last 2 weeks, I was in the area, in the region, Burkina Faso. I did not travel to Niger or Mali, but next week or in the coming 2 weeks, I will be around that region. As much as all this is happening, significant fight against terrorism, against the forces of Al-Qaeda, ISIS, the remnants that Muammar Gaddafi told us they are there, has been so good under President Gota. And I encourage the younger guy to go on because he has put all his resources in the fight against insurgents and terrorism that has been on that route in that region for a long time, that was actually fermented, is supplied even at times by the French.
Is this a battle that can be won? I just look at the size of the area that needs to be secured, and we're seeing more and more militants encircling urban areas, urban centers. I mean, this is increasing the risk to populations, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you see, the insurgency in Sahel is exported or imported. It is not the insurgents. This ISIS are being imported into these regions. Some are leaving Lake Chad area. Some are leaving the north of Libya. You see what France has done, and which Africans must condemn, which African Union must condemn. I was in AU a few days ago around Ethiopia. I told them my mind, and I don't care. I told them, how do you have two countries in one country, Benghazi and Tripoli? You see that connection brings in French-supported terrorists that are in the region, that are entering now, coming to capture. Remember, the French are behind. They want to remove Gota so that they can get back Mali, their foothold, stands to continue to exploit minerals, take away minerals. So the General Halifa Haftar, who is in Libya, south of Libya, Ndoro, has got over 30,000 troops there, stationed, well equipped. They can be used anytime in the Sahel region. That's why you see that conflict is very complex. It has several factors, external and internal. And that's why they come as close as the city Bamako. They want to take it. And yet, we are aware that the French are based, they have been removed, but they have gone back to support insurgents, terrorists. Are you now new to this phenomenon? Look at what is happening in the Middle East. You know what they did. They even come up and bomb their own friends who they're negotiating with. So please, the French have done a very big damage in that region. And the two countries, one country divided into two, Peter and Ndoro, we are in trouble.
Let's turn our attention to Ivory Coast now. The Constitutional Council there has barred two leading opposition figures, former President Laurent Gbagbo and former CEO Tidjane Thiam, from this month's presidential race, citing legal grounds like criminal convictions and nationality status. This can't be a good sign for the democratic process for Côte d'Ivoire. What's your take on this? Because there seems to be a strategy a lot of incumbent governments deploy when they want to ensure a certain result.
Peter, I, Mbeki, Kisano, we are the last people to depart Abidjan before the war erupted between Babco and Ouattara. It is going to happen again. I'm sorry. I'm not a prophet of doom, but I speak facts based on intelligence. And as a member of Chatham House and Institute of International Institute of Strategic Studies, I know what is going on. Let me tell you frankly, Ouattara has made a very big mistake, and I'm very disappointed. But why is he still there, supported by the French? The French support Ouattara. Now, Ouattara himself is not from Burkina Faso, from Ivory Coast. The parents of Ouattara came from Burkina Faso. He's not a man from there. He has annexed these people's power. Part of the problem, until you come down and analyze that problem, that Ouattara is not supposed to be a president of Ivory Coast, is when you resolve that problem. Now, he has used this, one, to eliminate one of the candidates that you are not from Ivory Coast on papers. Now, Babco, of course, I have written to Babco a private letter telling him, please, you suffered in ICC over wrong of things, and the ICC is not a very good organization. It is one of the moribund, stupid, disorganized organization in the world, where people sit down and frame you and take you to jail. So please don't get involved in these elections. Leave other people to take part. We suffered for Babco to come out. This is another crisis, as you said, Peter, in making, and it is coming to happen. There will be another war there.
That's quite scary. But as you say, I mean, the signs are there, and if people ignore them, the Economic Community of West African States, can they not do anything about this, or they have to wait until after the horse has bolted?
Peter, who funds ECOWAS? France. Who calls the piper? France. Now, is ECOWAS self-sufficient on its own money? No. And this is why Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali said goodbye. You are funded by this small man called Macron in Europe, who is even younger than my firstborn child. So, and comes here to threaten Africans. You are funded by this, a man who doesn't even know policy. But he's just micromanaged by like a robot. He comes to fund you, he directs you. Now, ECOWAS cannot do anything. That's why the West African states are in chaos, from Nigeria all the way to Togo, all the way to Senegal now. Look at Senegal, Gambia, all those ECOWAS states are gone. Who funds them? France. So how are they going to make a decision when France decides that enough is enough? Let's not go that way. Have a blind eye on that. For this, France cannot even, if it says I'm withdrawing money from ECOWAS, you are dead. At least in East Africa, we contribute our own money. to East African community. SADC, have you seen SADC twice to contribute to stand on its own? But most of the projects in West Africa and ECOWAS are done by the French. That's all. It is just an organization of Africans, but funded by France. Sorry, I have to tell the truth.
Okay,
like
so France at the heart of a lot of these issues. You've mentioned Senegal. We're seeing new President Bassirou Diomaye Faye and Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko unveiling what they call a government of combat, featuring a rapid cabinet shake-up aimed at tackling poverty, debt, public distrust. What do you make of these moves and initiatives by this new administration? Are they going to turn things around in Senegal, in your view?
I have written that it is good you have asked me that. I've written them a private letter, very dangerous private letter, confidential to them. The two, they never came to power because they had the means. No, it is us, activists like Matsanga, who went on TV to call for Macky Sall to release them. Who was asking for them to be released? Nobody. I wrote to them a letter that if you are going towards France, you go on shaking hands with this boy in Paris. You are going to create problems. Unite as brothers. Come back. Resolve your problems. They have my letter. If they say they don't have it, I publish it. If they say they didn't get it, I will make it public. That's what Matsanga did. I don't take any prisoners. I have told them you are a younger generation. The younger people in Africa look at to you. People in Africa are looking at you as people who came in and they are supported by the public. Work together. If you can combat corruption, take away all the corrupt deals that Senegal is involved. Cut yourself from this former colonial master who wants to make you wear their perfume, who wants to make you eat frogs when you can't eat frogs as Africans. Please get out. And they have listened. I'm happy that after 2 weeks or 3 weeks of my letter, which I delivered, which was delivered very well to the Prime Minister, and the President, something has come out. That's very good for me.
All right, and finally, in Guinea-Bissau, President Umaru Embalo has stayed in office even after his constitutional term has expired, defying opposition claims and raising fears of a looming constitutional crisis. Another story that we see playing out quite often. What's your take on this one, and what does this mean for Guinea-Bissau?
That is another autopilot president, another one moving target who wants to extend the constitution. What kills Africa is shrinkage of constitutionalism. They don't have that will to stand on what they have put in place before. I don't know why African leaders, when it comes to your term of 2 terms to end, go home and look after your cows, look after your goats, look after your chicken, look after nurse other generation. Forget about this. Now, that one is a moving target for an overthrow. And for me, I'm always very honest. I'm sorry, I'm not calling against anybody to overthrow governments in Africa. No, I'm against military overthrows, and I like to bring them back to African Union. But Peter Ndoro, that is a moving target. He is confused. He doesn't know where to go. That is one of the most confused presidents on African continent. When you find him, either he is with this, we're with there. He doesn't have any signal on how America brought up that nation, Guinea-Bissau. He should have followed America Brown, a father of Pan-Africanism. Whenever I go to that step on the airport, I criticize them and I land there. What can they, if they do there, I don't come there. We shall meet somewhere between the gates of hell and heaven. If you are not God, we shall meet. And that is why I'm telling you, that there he wants to take another term, extend the term. Then let's go back to African politics say, is competitive politics very good enough in Africa? The answer is no. Let's look for other models of democracy in Africa, because it looks every time in Africa, Peter Ndoro, you talk about elections, people start buying pangas, people start collecting stones, people start making bombs, guns, in order to fight the other. Isn't it time to go back to China style of Peter Ndoro and say, 40 years ago, China was the poorest country in the world. Today, China gives us money, builds us roads and a railway. Why don't we go back and find a system that is conducive for Africa? I bet that is the time I'm waiting for before God calls me to go and stand for my sins that I have made while on planet Earth.
Fascinating. And as we always do, we run out of time, and I'm going to have to leave it there. But thank you so much indeed, Dr. Matsanga, for telling the West African story so well. Thanks for your time.
I'm in London. I want to pursue Mr. Tinubu. Mr. Tinubu, I want him not to ever step in United Kingdom. And this week, I'm taking a case in the Old Bailey. Or next week, we shall file that summons to subpoena in good law, subpoena him to show cause why he has left Nigeria to be eaten by bandits, terrorists. Everybody's killing each other in Nigeria, surely. What is the problem? Thank you very much. God bless you, Peter Ndoro.
Thank you so much, Dr. Matsanga. We'll chat again next week. That's Dr. David Matsanga, political scientist and conflict resolution analyst, with some scary words there, particularly what's happening in Guinea-Bissau and Ivory Coast. We'll have to watch what develops there. Right now, though, it's time for your news headlines.